Hi, my name is G, and welcome to the 5th OSE 3D Printer Workbench demo. Today I want to show you a new feature in the Workbench, which is how to generate a cut list. Let's say you've been prototyping a new model of the 3D printer and you're ready to go from digital prototyping to physical prototyping. One important thing that you need is to be able to generate a cut list that tells you the different parts you need to cut and at what length. For example, the different rods that make up each universal axis in the printer. So what I have here is a 18-inch cubic frame and two y-axes on the left and right side, two z-axes on the front and rear sides, and a x-axis on the top. So if I want the if I want the Workbench to then tell me how many rods I need to cut for which axis and what length, the way I can do that is, we'll notice that there's a new OSE 3D printer menu option in the top bar, and there's two different ways to generate the cut list. The first is I can copy it to my clipboard and then paste it in or embed it into the wiki, or I can save the cut list as a CSV file. I'll first demo how to copy it to your clipboard, and there's a couple of details in this table that I want to go over. So this is telling me that I need to cut 4 rods for the x-axis at 22 inches long, 4 rods for the y-axis at 21 inches long, not exact, but 21, 4 rods for the z-axis at 17 inches. And we'll notice that in the Workbench, the x and z-axes they look like they're the same size as the frame, but the rods that make up those axes are actually a little bit different than what they appear due to limitations in the realism of the Workbench. So the x-axis is actually 4 inches longer than the frame, so 22 inches for an 18-inch frame, and the z-axis is actually z-axis rods are actually an inch shorter than the frame, so 17 inches for an 18-inch frame. There's more details if you want to really dig in about why. So for the x-axis, there's this document that kind of has really nice pictures, and you can study this at your own leisure. I'll include a link to this in the description. And I'll go into the z-rods because it's a little bit easier to explain, but they're shortened on the z1 axis, which is the z-axis on the front side of the printer, by about an inch, so that the spool holder rods, the rods that hold up the spool of filament, insert into that and then hold up the spool. So there's a good picture that shows you that, and this PowerPoint presentation that I'll also link to. So yeah, you see here, you slip in the spool holder rods in the top, and then the z-axis rods maybe only go up about halfway into the motor side box of the axis. Okay, so, and if you forget all that, I made a note here. So X rods, you add 4 inches to whatever they are in the frame, 4 inches to however they're modeled here, and 1 inch shortened for the z-axis. So there are two different formats that you can copy the cut list as. There's table and a list option. I'll quickly first show you the table option. Show preview. This is what our cut list looks like as a table. And now I'll show you the list option. And this is what it looks like as a list. The thinking behind including the different format options is that not everyone likes the table format because it makes it a little bit harder to edit the cut list later. So that's why I decided to include both options, just so that you have a choice. So now I want to show you how you can save it as a CSV file, and we'll notice that it picks a default file name for you, but you could select any location and name it whatever you like. And we'll also notice that it'll default the file name to cutlist.csv, and if that exists, it'll just kind of keep incrementing it till it finds a unique file name. So that way you don't like accidentally go here, because when you click OK, it's going to save it. As we see here, it saved it to that location. And so I didn't want people to accidentally like overwrite an old cutlist file that they didn't want to overwrite. So that's why it's always a unique one when you open this up. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Well, I also wanted to mention that this isn't a complete cut list for all of the rods that you need to cut for the printer. It's just for the axes. It's missing the rods that you would need for the heated bed, as well as the spool holder rods. But it's a start, and we can always add more to it later. So I hope this was helpful, and please let me know if you have any questions below. I'll include links to these two resources that go into more of the finer details. And thank you for watching.